It's been a mission. Would you believe it? I had a Windows update. Not just one, but two. And for those of you who don't know, YouTube has changed the format for their live streaming. But we will talk about the Lost Mine of Phandelver, provided I am convinced that everything is working fine. What I really need everybody to do is I need you, since you are in the room and there, I need you to tell me if everything is working correctly. That means sound and picture. If I know what's going on, please let me know. It would be very, very helpful while I transition through this time of trying to figure out what the heck YouTube is doing. I couldn't even promote the event in a way that I would normally promote it because it wouldn't let me do that, which is very peculiar. I don't know why they make these decisions, but apparently they do. So, it sounds like I actually have some sound coming through. Please let me know if the sound is an issue so that I can fix it now, and if otherwise, if I can't fix it, it's too late once I start. So please let me know. Any reverberation, any echo, any problems with the volume of the sound, stuff like that would be really, really helpful. Okay, I'm going to go over and see if the webcam is actually working today, since I've had so much trouble getting the webcam to work as well. Couldn't even get the sound to work correctly, which was just amazing. It's been rather amusing, I have to say. The idea is to improve things, isn't it? You make things actually work better. Now I'm sticking around and doing this so that everybody has time to actually find the live stream and jump in. So while I'm doing my sound check and you guys are letting me know if the picture is working fine, I'm going to say hi to everybody, and then we are going to talk about this topic, because I said I wouldn't do Lost Mine of Phandelver videos, and I'm doing yet another one. Fleet Centurion, hi, how's it going? F Hub is here. I smell goblins, and they smell bad. Yes, they do smell bad. Is it ProSuit? ProSuit, so happy he is doing the BSC. I am going to run it. All right, okay, well, good. This will be helpful. Please, if you are a Dungeon Master, try not to ask questions that would spoil it for players, because I made this video for your players so that they could watch it and get some ideas around how to connect themselves to Gundren, and then you can take this video and then present it to them to make your life a little bit easier, so that you don't have to do all of the work, or at least you can form some sort of set of notes. Hi Sam, how's it going? Smokem, James, how's it going, Smokem James? Joe's here, Overboard DM, he's got a YouTube channel. Yes, I am a bit late, it does happen sometimes, technical problems. Hi Chris, he can hear me. Cameron is here, and Julian, is that Julian? How's it going? Good picture. Okay, all right, so I think we are ready to get going. You've been waiting long enough. I'm pulling out my earbuds, I am dropping them on the ground, and we are flicking over to screen. Now, for those of you who don't know how my live streams work, normally what I do is I present everything first. I will put the start time for this video down in the description later on once it's published, but they all go unlisted, so unless you have subscribed, hit the bell button and turned on notifications, frankly, I don't even know if that's working nowadays. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, given all the changes they have made. But usually they go unlisted, and if you're a patron, you can access the live stream later on. That's not a problem. But I do an edited version days later, where I cut out all the Q&A that I do at the end of a live stream regarding the topic. So that will come eventually if you can't hang around for the entire live stream. But I do cut out the Q&A at the end of the live stream. Now, for those of you who are not aware of how I do my live streams, I present everything first. I have 2 pages of notes. I use slides. I do not use my face because it's just too hard. I can't concentrate that hard and well and do a live stream. But we will come back to the webcam, and you will get to talk to me. You will see a person. There is not a robot at the end of this video. There may be a robot. I could be a robot right now, for all you know. Really, people do it. Deep fake, isn't it? Something like that. Okay. I just had my first snag. That was really quick. That didn't take long. I moved in, ready to go, and something had vanished just like that. Like you would think Fred had sorted everything out, but apparently no. No, yet again, he had technical problems. Something about updating Windows and YouTube changing things always causes problems, right? Now I've got to wait for my computer to load up the image so I can actually put it in. Otherwise, you might be a bit confused as to what's going on. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, look, all I can say is one day I will finally get it to a point where everything works perfectly and you do not need to stress and worry, and neither do I, with regard to what's going on. I'm just curious now as to whether all of my images have suddenly vanished. What do you know? They have. Now, okay, we're going back to my face while I go through and see what has YouTube done. I do apologize. I was not expecting the update process to shift files. That is rather unexpected. I did not expect that at all. That's really, really weird. Okay. Now, for those of you who are hoping for sort of some Dungeon Master advice, I don't know that I'm going to be able to go into a lot of detail in this particular video because there are players that are hanging around for this live stream, so that could really throw a spanner in the works, and I don't really want to ruin it for them, and I don't want to mess with your game because they will be hanging out for this video. That's why, oh God, another one. Okay. Yeah, all right, so that's Gundren the Adventurer. Well, interesting. At least I have put everything in a folder and it's all laid out, so I should be able to find it all fairly quickly. Yes, I was trying to sort all this stuff out before I started the live stream, for those of you who are saying, Fred, how come you haven't already got this sorted out? This was all sorted out days ago. But literally everything has got shifted around, and the Windows actually updated like 20 minutes ago. That's literally how long ago it was. I had to update it. It updated, and it shoved everything in strange places. All right, so we're getting closer. The good news is that I didn't have a significant number of images for this video, so it won't take... Oh my God, another one. All right, okay. Where are you? There he is. There's Gundren. I have a lot of new photos of Gundren for those of you who are hoping to see something a little bit new today. You've got to be shiting me. I can just see the number of people who are losing their patience right now. I can assure you I'm doing exactly the same thing. There he is. Okay, found that image, stick that in. It's all good. Okay, and please tell me there are no more shuffling bits going on. Well, what do you know? Apparently we have everything there now, and nothing is going wrong at this present time. You will excuse me if I feel incredibly paranoid about this live stream now. Okay, all right, let's switch over to there. You've waited long enough. People have had plenty of time to get in, and God knows how many people are starting to spew text right now. We are ready to go. So settle down, grab some food, drink, make yourself comfortable. Let's talk about the lost mine of Phandelver, shall we? Hi, welcome to How to D&D. My name is Fred Weller, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. And usually I talk about Dungeons and Dragons 5e because, well, that's really what my channel does. Today's topic is my friend Gundren Rockseeker. Wow, would you believe it? I am actually making another Lost Mine of Phandelver Dungeon Master Guide. Actually, this is not just our Dungeon Master Guide. I actually made this video for the players. So this is actually a player's guide. So if you are playing in this adventure, you can stick around because there are no major spoilers. I am not going to ruin it for you. You will be fine. Your Dungeon Master will not tell you off if you hang around. Trust me, you can stay here. Do you need some ideas why your character is friends with Gundren Rockseeker? Well, as it happens, I'm going to help you with that because I have a bunch. Here are a list of ideas that you can use if you are having trouble figuring out that question. Now, if you're a dungeon master and you're worried that your players will have trouble figuring it out, this is the video for them, so make sure to throw it their way. Number 1, if your character is a dwarf, have them related to Gundren Rockseeker and his brothers. Now, the thing is, the pre-made dwarf cleric has this connection. If you actually use the pre-made character sheets in the starter set, you will find a dwarf cleric, and that particular cleric is related to Gundren Rockseeker. But it doesn't have to just be that pre-made character. It could be any dwarf. Why not? Make that connection nice and easy. Number 2, you both work in the same mine or worked in the same mine years ago and you survived a mine cave-in together. A really simple connection. It's quite a strong connection and it doesn't involve having to kill anything. Number 3, Gundren and his brothers helped you fight off orc raiders on your village years ago. That's the sort of thing that Gundren does. He's a very helpful individual, and therefore you can call on him and he will call on you in dire straits. Number 4, Gundren is your tavern singing and drinking buddy, and you have been partying with Gundren for years. You are infamous for painting towns completely red, wrecking furniture, and basically getting completely stonkers drunk. Why not? He's a dwarf. Why not go with that connection? Number 5, for those of you who are more into the war aspect, Gundren was your commanding officer during the Great Goblin and Orc Wars, or any war really, it doesn't matter. Decide on a war, make one up. Both of you have saved each other's lives many times in many different encounters or battles. Nice strong connection there. And really useful if you're using, say, the background soldier. Number 6, Gundren saved your life from a lynch mob years ago that was trying to hang you for your ancestry. In other words, your race. If you have a character who has a particularly unusual race that isn't usually accepted by the majority of the population, say a tiefling or a dragonborn, Gundren came to your rescue and saved you from the hangman's noose. Number 7, you both went to the same school or guild for mining and training, and you did the training with him. So if you're into mining and trading, so is Gundren, so you attended the same training facilities, and it took a few years, so therefore you know him pretty well, and you get along. Number 8, Gundren paid off a few gambling debts that you had and kept you out of prison. As a result of this, you have been able to flower and bloom. He's even given you a legitimate job that you were able to expand on and turn into your own business or go into business with Gundren. So, pay off those gambling debts. Number 9, you helped Gundren fight off bandits or some sort of horrible creature that was trying to attack transporting wagons. So yeah, it sounds very familiar to what you're probably going to be contending with in the Lost Mine of Phandelver, but while Gundren was transporting trade goods from one location to the city of Waterdeep, you were able to stave them off. Maybe you just wandered upon him, maybe you were following him or travelling with Gundren and his wagon or his caravan of trade goods. It doesn't matter, but that's another connection. The last one, which will probably surprise a couple of you, number 10. Ask the Dungeon Master if you can have a short adventure. It only has to be one combat. A short adventure with Gundren and his brothers before the main adventure. And that will actually make it very easy for you to explain why you are friends with Gundren Rockseeker. It could be as simple as a tavern brawl. It might be just a small travelling excursion that results in a battle. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. And lastly, Otherwise, tell me why your character is friends with Gundren Rockseeker if you made up your own background link to that character. I have provided you with a whole bunch, but I'm sure you can come up with something much better than I can. Now, if you liked this video, fantastic. I also have a video, a player's guide to the Lost Mine of Phandelver, which you're welcome to go and check out. If you're a dungeon master, I have a whole series of videos on the Lost Mine of Phandelver, which you're welcome to go and check out as well. There will be something there you will find useful, I am sure. Now, if you want to support the channel so I keep doing video content like this, you can do that through Patreon, through the affiliate links to the book depository and Amazon down in the description, to the merchandise shelf underneath my videos. Yes, you've heard all of this stuff before, I do realise. Or just watch my videos, that's fine too. Make sure to share, like and subscribe. Hit the bell button to be notified when I go live and when I publish new videos. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. And we're back to my face, which means I'm going to test my eyes, because that's what I do. Test my eyes, see if they are actually working, and we will go through. Now, this is your opportunity. I would please ask Dungeon Masters, if you are in here and want advice on the Lost Mine of Phandelver, please do me a favour. Do not give away spoilers, because there will be a whole bunch of people in here who are players. And I think that it would be foolish to think that we can't, you know, cause problems for people. There are ways of asking me a question that I can give you an answer to without actually doing anything in chat, because I have made so many videos now. It will also mean that if you ask a really good question and it doesn't give away a spoiler, you may get a video, since apparently I am doing videos on the Lost Mine of Phandelver, but I'm not doing videos in the way that you might have expected. Instead, I'm doing a player's guide. And there's other stuff coming, but that won't just be me. I did promise people something else, so that will happen. Okay, I'm going to check my eyes. My eyes are garbage. The light is reflecting off there quite nicely. Hi, Gonzo, how's it going? Thank you. 20,000 subs doesn't really mean very much. All that matters is people are enjoying the content. I still like making the videos, and are people watching the stuff? That's really all that matters. Okay, all right, so let's go through here. Please, once the questions are gone, I disappear. I will go as well. Okay. All right, so here we go. Am I getting any better? No, that's not really helping. It's just I'm just gonna cope with this without the eyes, since it's not doing much. All right, so working my way through here as fast and quickly as I can. Okay, FHub, everything associated with YouTube, Gmail, and Google suddenly is broken. Yes, it does seem to be the case. I do not know how people even found this live stream. I honestly thought people wouldn't even show up. He said my name. Of course I said your name. Of course I said your name. I say people's name all the time. Julian, yes, okay. Now, there was a question that somebody who was a dungeon master had asked me. So without revealing the context of that question on this live stream, I'm going to answer that question in the live stream. God knows how this is going to work. It's going to sound very strange, but for those of you who are contending with that problem in the Lost Mine of Phandelver, it should not give away anything significant to your players, and it should still help you. Okay. Dear. Okay. When's Fred starting? Who knows? Yeah, Troy. We made Gundren Robin Williams in our campaign. Really? That's actually, I like that idea. I think that's fantastic. Good idea. Nice one. Start the script time marker. Do you know, frankly, the new thing that they have here on YouTube that allows you to do stuff, I don't understand it. It's really confusing. None of it is laid out the way the video showed me that demonstrates how to use the thing in the first place. So as a result, Yeah, it's not going to help me. I'll put it in later. It's just going to go the same way we've always done it until Fred either figures out what's going on and everything works properly. Now, for those of you who don't know, Gonzo the Great has a channel. Gonzo is part of Dungeon Class. I've done videos with Dungeon Class. So go and check out his channel. They've got some good stuff there. Hi, Dan. Stokers, drunk confirmed. That's right. Go with this. Yeah. Drunk, why not? It's a dwarf. He can be drunk. You can be drunk. It's a good connection. Okay. F. Hubba. Hard to say the level 1 PC has saved Gundren many times in battle. How come he's still level 1? No, I think what you've forgotten, Fred Hubba, is that level 1 is level 1 not for somebody who fights. It's level 1 for a hero. Okay, there can be soldiers and they not be level 1. Does that make sense? And we're not talking about taking things out of context that much. You are a lowly individual, a lowly troop, as far as you know. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be that hard of a stretch, if you ask me. All right. You will never be done with the Lost Mine of Phandelver videos. Yeah, Fred, you may well be. That might be the case. I'm actually going to be talking with Matthew Perkins about the Lost Mine of Phandelver. That means that's 2 people in the same video at the same time. That's going to happen. I know, because I'm supposed to be doing it tomorrow. We're going to answer a lot of questions, fill in the gaps. Jeff Fry, 678. One of my players had a PC that was part of the criminal organisation that he wanted to get rid of. Okay, so Gundren offered him to travel with the wagon in a way it escaped from the brand. All right, okay. I understand what you're saying there. Actually, it's a good idea. It's probably an idea I would normally have. And look, to be frank, a lot of stuff is given away in the backgrounds to the pre-made characters, which is why I always suggest to Dungeon Masters and even players that you have a look at the pre-generated characters and you pluck the background information from that character and chuck it into your own character. If you don't want to use the pre-made characters in their form, you want to make yourself a sorcerer or a paladin or something like that. I think that's actually a really good way to go about creating a connection to the adventure itself. And it does give you a little bit of stuff. There's a little bit of spoilers there, but that's kind of built into the adventure. Okay, next. Another one was a pirate. Oh, I like this. And his captain sent him to follow Gundren and get a magical object that Gundren seems to find. Okay, all right. Interesting. Sly Variant. I definitely want to take a moment to thank you. Okay, you're welcome, Sly Variant, for the series of videos. I don't know if you recall, but I told you I was DMing this for the first time for my buddies and his kids. A lot of people tell me this very story. Actually, it's quite common, I've discovered, and you're quite welcome. And frankly, these types of videos are for you and your players. That's why I make them, so that you guys have a good time and you get through any of the hassles, because it can be a little bit daunting. Some people take to playing Dungeons and Dragons or DMing Dungeons and Dragons quite quickly and easily, and others have a bit more trouble or just need a little bit more of a push or guidance, and that's fine. We are almost finished with it, and they started to ask about our next adventure. Oh God, I have a video. Okay, thank you so much. I credit your videos for that because I read through the whole adventure. Look, the next adventure, I did a video on the next adventure after the Lost Mine of Phandelver, and I answer any questions you might have regarding that. Now, it is a little bit old, so it does exclude something like Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I don't think that at that time I necessarily was talking about Dungeon of the Mad Mage, because I don't believe it had been released at that time. Do I think you could transition from the Lost Mine of Phandelver to Dungeon of the Mad Mage, since I haven't mentioned that in that video? yeah, you may well be able to make that work. I'm quite surprised how well Dragon of Ice by a Peak is going to transition into Dungeon of the Mad Mage, but I haven't done it yet. And you know, as anybody knows, you don't know if it's going to work until you actually do it, and you don't know if it's going to work for the majority of people. You could be the one solo dungeon master who made it work and nobody else did. Who knows? And then I watched all your videos on Lost Mine of Phandelver before our first session. You're welcome. No problems. Right, and now I would like to point out that Gonzo the Great from Dungeon Class has run Lost Mine of Phandelver for his family while driving in a car from their home to the mountains. And I believe there is a video on the topic. It won't be quite so clear because the thumbnail doesn't have him holding the starter set out of the window of a car with his family in the back seat. Gonzo, just suggesting maybe time to update that thumbnail to maybe something like that. But he has lots of stuff that he could probably help you with regard to that. Okay. Fleet Centurion, what do you got here? I had a hobgoblin character whose life was spared by a friend of Gundren in exchange for his oath to return to him the head of King Clark. All right, okay, all right. I'm not quite sure, but that's fine. Brian Murray, looking for a one shot to run on Roll20. Anyone recommend running the mine portion of Lost Mine? Or any ideas? Okay, if you're going to use the Lost Mine of Phandelver, just run the hideout. Okay, just run the hideout, the very first part of the adventure. Just do that. That's good enough if you want a one shot. It might be difficult to get through it unless you play for like 4 hours, and if you can push them through quickly, then that could work. If you really want good one shots, the Kobold Press does Prepared. There's a Prepared 1 and a Prepared 2. Prepared is a dozen short adventures, take about 5 minutes to prepare and should last you the whole game session. Would you believe it? I know this because I've run them myself. So I really recommend those for those of you who are interested in just a one shot. So they're level 3 to 5, 4 players, 2 beginners. Okay, all right, so that's a little bit different. If they're level 3 to 5, then I would go with the back end. If you're going to use the Lost Mine of Phandelver, do the very last dungeon location. You know what I'm talking about. Pretty sure I saw it. It talked about the giant one. Yeah, I did talk about Storm King's Thunder. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Storm King's Thunder, although it was supposedly designed to be integrated with the Lost Mine of Phandelver. Just because I think that the Lost Mine of Phandelver is probably better put together than Storm King's Thunder. There's a lot of walls of text, so unless you do a lot of reading, it can be a bit tricky. Phandelver is a problem. One of the best is probably one of the best adventures in D&D. Good story, easy to both players and dungeon masters. Yes, lots of replay value, and you can use it as part of a larger campaign. Yeah, I've always struggled with making that work well. I always felt that was not quite the strength of the Lost Mine of Phandelver. I felt like it would ending it was probably a better idea, but that's just me. In terms of the issues that I had at my table, I have tried to run it more than once, and I didn't really enjoy running it the second time. I just don't like eating old pizza. I've said this before. I want something new. Okay, Dan, what do you got here? Second cousin twice removed from the Stonefinder clan. Exactly, there you go, Dan, you got it. What do you got here, Sam? I just got the Kobold Press Prepared booklet this week, yes. Tried running a one-shot yesterday, realised that book references the Tomb of Beasts. Yes, it does. That I am unfamiliar with, so I had to wing it. Now, Sam, you will find some of the monsters in Prepared do require the Tome of Beasts. You're quite right. But there are plenty of monsters that can be transitioned over from the monster manual. without too much trouble. I still feel like it's a really good product. I mean, you know how long it took you to prepare that adventure. It wasn't long. Yeah. Okay. Sly variant. What do you got here? The next adventure after Lost Mine of Phandelver. Yes. DM guide. Yes, it is. You've watched it. Okay. Okay. Here's the question that I was presented with by a dungeon master without giving away spoilers. Do all of you remember The Princess Bride? This is the movie, the movie The Princess Bride, and you have the man in black, and he's climbing and scaling up a cliff face to the top of the cliff face, and waiting at the top is somebody who's going to kill him with a sword, right? Yeah, that's right, Montoya. Now, here's the thing. Here's my question to you that will help answer the question that you will come across. When it comes to scaling a cliff face or a ledge, or not so much a ledge, say a cliff face or a sheer area section, right? Yes, the Dread Pirate Roberts, you've got it. We're on the right track. You know what I'm talking about. So if you're climbing that section and it's wide enough that allows everybody to scale the cliff or that rocky surface that's vertical up to the top, where there is somebody who might be waiting for them, even if they don't look down and see them, but they're not necessarily aware of them until they get to the top. There's nowhere to hide, there's no cover, there's no stones or anything like that. Okay, if everybody is climbing up, the chances are you can time it so that everybody climbs over the top onto the top ledge and can face their enemy together, right? Does that make sense? That means things like an athletics check. To actually do that, you might need to make a couple of them. Your climb speed is halved, so that means that when you're climbing, instead of going 30 feet, if you have a speed of 30 feet, you're going 15 feet, but frankly, it doesn't really matter. You can make them do a stealth check. It's a climbing stealth check. So you do an athletics check and then a stealth check to climb up. Get to the top. They all get to the top, and then you decide whether they have surprise against the enemy at the top or not. Now, how do you do that? We use the stealth check compared with the passive perception of our monsters or enemy at the top of the cliff. Okay? Now, that's if everybody can climb up at the same time and the area is greater than 5 foot wide and you've got plenty of space. Like something like the Princess Bride and that cliff face that the Dread Pirate Roberts climbed up would probably work, correct? Now, if you have a much narrower space, say you're in a cavern and there's like a very narrow, sort of just 5 foot wide vertical stone surface that they have to climb up, that means if you have a party of adventurers, only one of them can climb up at a time. And to have two people climb up at a time, which would mean they are squeezing. So it could be done, but they would be squeezing. So you can see the problem. That means you've got people behind them who are also trying to climb up with them, trying to get to the top. That means the first one or two who climb over the top at the end of the cliff face and face their enemy are going to have to fight them off on their own until the rest of the party can climb over the edge. Okay? That means it's far more dangerous and deadly as a situation. You still go through exactly the same process. The only problem is with, say, just a 5 foot wide space to climb up to the top where the enemy is waiting, who may not know or may know that you're there. Who knows? I would suggest to you it's probably not going to go well. Now, there's a few of you who are dungeon masters who will understand what I'm talking about, okay, when you read the adventure. For those of you who are players, I have educated you and given you a tip in terms of how to think about what is likely to happen, because you never know when this might crop up. Okay, I have been coy enough, and I think I've been, I've beaten around the bush, but I've answered the question. You'll get it. I just need some more water. Okay, Dan, what do you got here? Any hope for characters? What was it? Characters leaning towards more evil side alignment, wise having a friendly relationship with Gundren, maybe indirectly through Helia Thornton. So here's the thing, Dan. Are you playing in this adventure, or are you a dungeon master? Because I would suggest to you that trying to make that sort of connection, there are a lot of individuals within the adventure who will be friends with Gundren Rockseeker. And then there will be other characters, NPCs, non-player characters, controlled by the Dungeon Master, who probably wouldn't be friends with Gundren Rockseeker, or would be openly pretending to be friends with Gundren Rockseeker, but not truly friends with Gundren Rockseeker. I will always warn people when it comes to an evil alignment. You really need to understand that if the rest of the group can't cope with what you're doing, the only real way to play an evil alignment, I frankly feel, is to have people who have been playing a long time and are very comfortable with that, which isn't necessarily going to be the case, because the Lost Mine of Phandelver is usually played by very new people. That doesn't mean you can't do it. Pardon me, it's winter here, so I'm having some trouble. I have kind of had to beat around the bush a little bit. But you will know what I mean when I say not everybody would necessarily be friends with Gundren Rockseeker. And then there's those people who would associate with Gundren Rockseeker for business purposes and nothing else. That's not a very strong connection. Okay, the idea and the reason why I gave the ideas that I presented today in terms of why a player's character might be friends with Gundren Rockseeker is they're all very strong connections. Okay, they're all very, very much tied up. They don't revolve around money. You know, things like getting paid gold shouldn't be the primary focus. That is just, I mean, frankly, who would do it? There's got to be a bit more in it. Do you know what I mean? Who would do that? So there's got to be a bit more going on. Okay, Dan. Asked as a DM with players who like to be mildly evil. Okay. Is that the chaotic neutral? Because I remember doing chaotic neutral myself. Look, Dan, I think you will find that the campaign isn't really designed to be played by evil characters, but I will say this, Dan, and I am not, if there are players here, I am not encouraging you to do this, okay, because I haven't heard it work out that often. There have been, should I say, groups of players who have played evil alignments and have gotten into bed with the main villain rather than helping Gundren Rockseeker. Does that make sense? So whoever the main villain is, there may have been some groups that had player characters who decided to go on the other side. And I do not recommend it, but it has happened. I am aware of it occurring. Okay. Does that answer your question, Dan? It's the best I can really do with that. Now, I would like to talk very briefly about some of the things that I am hoping to bring to the Lost Mine of Phandelver in terms of content. I did stipulate I would not be making any more Dungeon Master guides for the Lost Mine of Phandelver. Certainly not in the way that I have been doing so. What I have been doing for the last few months, maybe even longer, but few months, is trying to find another Dungeon Master other than myself who has run through the game, also trying to find people who have played as players through the game and do sort of like okay, Dan, that answered your question? Good, excellent. I'm trying to do videos that are more interviewing so that you get a couple of different perspectives as a dungeon master about how the Lost Mine of Phandelver can be run and what might happen. I felt like giving you an idea of what we did, what happened in our campaigns from multiple dungeon masters, and why we did what we did, and why the players did what they did would be useful for you. And therefore, that's what you're probably more likely to see, okay? There are also a bunch of questions that people have presented to me over the years, and I've given them answers, and they've never really liked those answers. So as a result of that, I'm going to answer some of those questions with the help of somebody else in a 2-person, 3-person chat, okay, video chat, and sort of open them up, break them apart, and show you all the moving bits and pieces and why we would suggest doing some of the things we would do, okay? Because I don't feel that I can do that myself without really confusing people, or people not really being very happy with the idea to begin with. I don't always do stuff that you will like. Trust me, I provide you with options. And so that's, yes. Okay, so Overboard DM has just understood what I'm talking about. Yes, that means I'm going to talk about how to modify the Lost Mine of Phandelver. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So for those of you who are wanting to be able to modify the Lost Mine of Phandelver and weren't too sure how to do that, I'm going to go through that. I'm also going to present you at some point, hopefully with another dungeon master, a way of extending the Lost Mine of Phandelver past what is in the book without you having to do too much work and without having to go and use one of the other pre-made adventures that Wizards of the Coast is making, because they don't necessarily fit very well into that. So that means, I would say, like a adventure hooks and ideas as an epilogue to the Lost Mine of Phandelver, if you want to keep playing, since I have never really found anything that worked very well with regard to integrating with the Lost Mine of Phandelver. I'm going to give you that as well. But it won't just be me talking about it. It'll be somebody else as well. Does that sound good? This is a good time to tell me whether I'm on the wrong track or on the right track. And since I've run out of questions and I am just about ready to go, I would also like to point out, since it is quite clear that a lot of people are waiting for, okay, good. So Overboard DM has a YouTube channel, does miniatures and terrain. You should go and check him out. He does high-end stuff, and he does a lot of stuff that you probably haven't seen before. So the Curse of Strahd. I promised people more videos on the Curse of Strahd, and that is going to happen as well. What is it going to look like? As I said, once a month, near the end of the month, I will do a Q&A, or questions and answers. But like all of my live streams, there will be some predetermined content. Okay, that means that what I do is I am going to talk to a topic, and then once I've finished the topic, I will open it up and you can just ask whatever questions you have as a dungeon master about the Curse of Strahd. If you're a player, probably not a good place to be, but that is what's likely to happen. All right, here we've got no boring characters. Hey Fred, listening to you live from yesterday, modding Lost Mine of Phandelver sounds excellent. Okay, all right, because I felt like we really couldn't keep doing more videos. I mean, I suppose I could do videos on some of the encounter areas in the Lost Mine of Phandelver, but I felt like a lot of people didn't quite get the point with regard to those videos. And although they may generate a lot of interest, they were hard to make, and I got as much flack as I got positive feedback. So I felt like it is time to start talking about modifying, because so many people nowadays talk about modifying the Lost Mine of Phandelver. And a lot of people talk about modifying the Curse of Strahd. So I don't know if you guys know, but I will often have like 2 or 3 or 4 pages of notes listing a whole lot of different options that you could use in your campaign around an idea. And I'm going to do that with the Curse of Strahd as well. Okay, I am going to talk to small topics, but make them bigger, if that makes sense. Now, I'm going to make it clear to people that I have found in some of the other YouTubers that I sort of interact with have found that the people's voice with regard to the Curse of Strahd and Ravenloft can be a little bit overwhelming and a bit much. So if people start giving me too much flack, I'm going to stop doing the Curse of Strahd. But once a month at the end. So that means very likely, if I get my act together, next week you could well have a Dungeon Master live stream and content for the Curse of Strahd. I am pretty close to being ready to do that. Okay? Hi, Negative Space. It's been a while. I do recognise your name. I think flack and feedback are both somewhat overrated because there are probably a lot of people who it helps. Yeah. So it is actually really important if you are unaware, and I often don't say leave feedback in the comments section. It is actually really important for those of you who find my content helpful. Clicking like is one thing, but actually leaving a comment and just saying thank you, because YouTube now has a function on the comment section. When you guys make a comment on my videos, I don't get flagged on my phone very often. I have to go to my desktop, and I can't spend that much time on my desktop. So what I do is I use the filter, and I put in comments that haven't been responded to. And then I type in, since I've just discovered that I can filter, the word thank you. So if you put the word thank you in all likelihood, I will respond to you before everybody else. Unless it pops up on my phone, which, I mean, frankly, about 1 out of 10 comments show up on my phone. Does that make sense? So it's actually really important that you give me positive feedback when I do something well. Otherwise, I am prone to deciding to just flag it. So, just letting you know. Any videos in depth, history or alternatives are a big help, because running Lostmont of Phandelver, there is a lot in that campaign that doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, I guess, look, the problem is that they can't put everything into the campaign book. Okay, it's the same with the Curse of Strahd. Okay, Lostmont of Phandelver, Curse of Strahd, Dragon of Ice by a Peak. Oh my god. I don't know how many, when I finally can make videos on Dragon of Ice by a Peak, how many videos will I have to make to fill that out? There's so many. Okay, it's going to take me a long time. The good news is that a lot of the notes and so forth are pretty much already done, because I've had to run it just recently, and I've tried to make good notes as I go. I always try to chat when I can, but it's bedtime. I totally understand. So I'll watch all your videos tomorrow. Fair enough. That's fine. You don't have to. Look, it's not all gold. You don't have to watch the entire video. I know how YouTube works, which is why live streams go unlisted and why I do an edited version of all of the live streams. Yep, you're welcome for the video. Okay, all right. I think we have come to the end of our chat. I hope people like the sound of that. I have been working with Wally DM as well, so you can expect to see me on Wally DM's channel. He does puzzles and traps and character builds, and we talked about traps. Since I said I would talk about traps and skill challenges, we are doing that. And I will talk about traps on my channel with Wally as well, as it happens. That's in the works too, so you can expect those things to come through. Now, for those of you who enjoyed the skill challenge video that I did not so long ago, and has just not so long ago been edited and published, I am going to do more videos. I don't know that I made it clear to people, but I'm going to do how to run a skill challenge for Dungeons & Dragons 5e, because frankly, Dungeons & Dragons 4e skill challenges did have problems. And that's why they adjusted them and changed them in another Dungeon Master guide. But they need to be changed again because, frankly, they don't transition well straight from 4e to 5e. So that will be a mechanical video, okay, about the mechanics. And then, for those of you who are Dungeon Masters and just want to be given a skill challenge that you can use in your game, you know all those ideas that I threw at you in that video? I'm going to make a video on every single one of them, okay? I don't know how long that will take and when that will happen, but it will happen because I have every intention of it happening. They will not do well on YouTube, okay? I can guarantee you they will not do well, but I know that people want that sort of thing. Okay, hang on. No boring characters. Thank you. I wrote, okay, Dragon of Ice by a Peak and Lost Mine of Phandelver together. Aha, yes. And the PCs met Gundren in Dragon of Ice by a Peak in a dwarf quest. Actually, I think that's great. I know a lot of people want me to talk about how to integrate the Lost Mine of Phandelver and the Dragon of Ice by a Peak, but I'm not going to do that because I haven't done it. And if I haven't done it, why the heck would I talk about how to do it? Okay, I would only be guessing. So we will stay away from that. Yes, so, okay, I'll make it clear. I am open to collaboration overboard DM. So, Joe, if you want to do that, I am happy to do that. Not a problem. My email is down in the section of the About section for my YouTube channel. And Gonzo, if you're still here, I am very keen to talk about the Curse of Strahd and other topics, but I am aware that those videos never did very well on your channel, and you know, but me and Wally are going to do it quite regularly. We've decided we're having too much fun together, so we're going to do them quite a lot. At least once a month we'll get together. Okay, all right, it is time for me to get out of here. So, let's finish with this, because that was fun. So, wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the night, the afternoon, or the very early morning, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.